A lot of heterosexual people would benefit from queering their sex. Your gender performance and your role in the day-to-day doesn't necessarily have to translate to what you do intimately with your partner. You have a whole variety of different things that as a person you can explore and play with.
Yeah.
Because there can be someone who brings a lot of feminine energy to the relationship, but then in the bedroom it's completely different. So like keep it, as PG as possible.
You don't have to.
Hey, right.
I mean, you can't. You are allowed to, but you definitely don't have to.
Even if you don't lean toward being the little spoon, everyone can benefit from some little spoon time. And that doesn't necessarily mean like being a bottom and just totally getting railed. I mean just like being the person who gets held, regardless of what your gender is and your role is really important.
That whole conversation just reminded me of like she flipped me over, like, and I was like, "Nah, we can't. Nah, we not doing this.
No. Nigga
We've quitted too much
immediately.
I was gathering my ropes, but I was like,
Yo, she grabbed Eddie by the legs and just.
It was a very aggressive blowjob. I was not. She grabbed me by the I was like, nah, I'm not trying to be it. That's a teaspoon. I'm not ready to be that little.
It's a red flag.
Yeah, I got to give it up for water.
We live an earthbender.
You think I'll be an earthbender?
No, I see water for you.
I don't know, but then again, like when I think about the movements,
I
you know
can
what I'm
see,
saying? I be doing this like thing, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so
I'm thinking Earth, man. I'm really thinking Earth. I could see you because I think you're probably like literally the most grounded of the hosts of this podcast, just in terms of temperament.
Are you more spiritual or skeptical?
But he is more spiritual.
Absolutely.
I mean, water's pretty spiritual. Like that's the thing. I mean, that's why I'm not a waterbender. I'm more.
I know exactly what you mean without having the words for it. Like, but I got you. Like, yeah, my spirit is telling me I know what you mean.
Connected to the. Whatever the force, is there a force that I forget what all that spirit stuff was that like connects the humans to the elements, but like there was that other dimension, you know what I mean? Like the spirit dimension or whatever.
There is the spirit world, yeah.
Spirit world, yeah.
Yeah.
It has something to do with it. Spirit realm.
Realm sounds a lot more spiritual. I'll tell you that right now. Dennis is spiritual. Oh, should we just get straight into it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Waving the Red Flag, the #1 dating and elemental bending spirituality podcast. You know what I'm saying? Bringing you some hot takes from the spirit realm. It's your boy Eddie. It's Josh. It's AB. Joined today by Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic. That's the one. That's the one. Mr. Fantastic.
Really fantastic.
Should have just did the fucking air horns.
I don't know. Yeah.
I know.
Anytime you come back on, I think that's the one.
That's the worst Shaggy impersonation like I've ever fucking heard in my life.
I'm very bad at impersonations. I'm gonna start adding just AI. Like we should just start adding like AI. Like when we do a skit, just add that on top of our voice to do the work for us. But because I'm not trying to practice all that shit.
That AI thing is crazy though. I've actually heard a few Drake songs that were done by AI. Sound pretty
and
good.
they hit.
Yeah,
they fucking hit.
One was a complete original. Like I was like, yo, if Drake actually dropped this shit,
it would be good.
It'd be good.
That's what scares me about it, like the most. There's this part of my brain that's like little kid me who's just like, whoa, AI, so cool, so awesome, wow. But the rest of me is just terrified. The things that it can do to people's lives, what it can make, you can just make it look like someone has done something absolutely abhorrent. But what, like the kind of flip side of that is that how many people do you think who are going to have evidence come to light of them actually doing something horrible are going to be like, no, it's not real.
It's fake.
Real quick, I know and it's only slightly related, but I remember at one point, and they stopped it fairly recently, but you could send a fake text message on Android phones. Like you could literally from any number, like you could send it and it would go to your messaging app. And like we had people in court when I was with DeKalb who would use like text messages as like proof of stuff in say like family court. And I was talking to the judges at one point. I was like, on an Android phone, you can fake that, right? So like I sent a text from the judge's number to my phone before I even had started working there that said, "What up, shawty?" And I showed it to her, like one of the judges. And I was like, you didn't send that. They've patched that since. where like you can't do that anymore. I think we're thinking that like you have to be like a rocket scientist and have like this real like really sophisticated thing to fool most people, and you kind of really don't.
No, it's Joe
even
Goldberg's running
with
around
Woods.
all the time just doing like.
So
faking
imagine when it
shit.
gets really good though. Yeah, but imagine when it gets really good. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
No, that's what's
Like-
keeping that catfish shit alive. But what's
Yeah.
scary there is like that the judges didn't know, because I'm just thinking how many people lost money, years with their children, time in prison, fines, time on house arrest because some shit was just fabricated with like a very low level of sophistication. Like it was just, you know,
It was an app.
just-
It was an app at
yeah.
the time. And again, like it no longer exists. Because trust me, I looked for it.
who you was trying to put away.
No, I mean like recently, like I was like, man, I wonder if I can steal fake text messages. And then like the app that I knew of had like a statement in their current usage that says like, yeah, they patched that. You can no longer do this. It was deemed like a breach of policy for Android standards or whatever.
Bro, like over 10 years ago, my homeboy got me so nasty with that because it was like an app, and
It
I
was
had
an
a
app?
crush. It was an app. Like I had a crush on this one girl.
Tuna fished you. Oh, shit.
Yo, this nigga, bro, like he got there. He got his phone. He said, he's like, oh shit, hey yo, Josh, look. And I saw the name of the girl. Like he was like in the like a thread, like low key.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, what's up with Josh? You know, like tell him I said, hey, I like him or some shit. And bro, you would have thought I won the motherfucking World Series. Goddamn! I got up. I was like, yeah, nigga, what? And but my reaction was too pure
Pussy
too excited.
sweepstakes winner.
He felt so bad. He was like,
Ooh, I might have done some damage there.
it ain't real, but this ain't real.
That's slightly, that could be too far. Like that seems like the kind of prank where it's like you got to feel that out before you try it, because you might have fucked your life up. Because doing a fake won the lottery one, I would say that's way too much. Like I've seen those videos where people are like, you know, they'll like take a ticket that somebody bought, then play like yesterday's numbers to make it seem like they like won the lottery. And then they go, oh, it's a prank. And the person thought they won $250,000, $500,000, $1 million. And they tell them it's fake. It's like,
Oh yeah, nah.
that's trauma.
You can't mess with
Because you just
somebody
made
like that.
Nah, because you just made them think that their whole life was that they weren't gonna have to do backbreaking labor no more, that they were gonna be able to feed their kids differently, that their kids are gonna be able to be the first to go to college in their whole family. You know what I mean? And then you just in an instant took that.
Gave them everything, took it away.
Immediately, every problem they had was solved.
Exactly. Oh man, I don't have to deal with that. My creepy boss who's constantly sexually harassing me. The relief that you might feel, and then you go, oh nope, it's fake. You got to go to work tomorrow. Oh, fuck. Seriously, you got to end all those relationships with those like somebody that does you like that. Then again, I mean, I could see it being repaired, because I think sometimes you don't really, especially if you're younger or whatever, you don't really realize like, oh wait, maybe me doing a text message thread of him like with the girl that he really really likes might actually be really psychologically upsetting for him. But I'm just thinking, oh, it's just funny, but then you really fucked this man's day up. So
I mean, hey, I bounced back quick. It was,
Yeah.
once I realized, but it was funny. Like even like after
I'm sure
he
it
told me,
was.
I was like, because even I had to laugh at my own goddamn excitement for that shit. I was like, man,
you
got
ready.
me.
You was so ready. I can imagine.
I was already planning to.
Yeah.
All right, what we gonna do next?
Yeah, exactly. Well, tomorrow at school, you're gonna come at it all backwards and shit. You go like text her, but like way too cocky, because you know
Right,
you
right.
think that she already likes you. Like, what's up, girl? You trying to come through? And she's
Right.
like, who is this?
The fuck? But what if like just because I had the confidence, like it would have worked? It's like, oh my god, like I never thought about it before, but
So my gay little heart, that's where I was expecting it to go. When you were like, I was so
Oh,
excited,
yeah.
and I'm like, and then you got the confidence and you texted her and she was just like, oh, cool.
no.
Like,
I'm
wow.
sorry to
Like
disappoint
that.
you. Sorry to disappoint you, my friend. No, that is completely opposite of how when I crept back into my corner.
Just cried myself to sleep. Finn, have you ever had something like that happen where you were way like overconfident in the situation, and then it just worked out and you ended up getting the person? Like, oh, I did not think that would work.
Yes.
Or the reverse.
Yes,
I guess.
actually. Yeah,
Okay,
no,
what you
I'm well, that's a weird one, because like I mean, I used to be read as a woman. So like taking the more direct approach was something that was very, very doable for a long time.
Okay.
Because like especially if I was trying to approach a woman, it was pretty much the same as it is now. There's this weird like queer woman vortex thing that happens where you're both interested in each other, but there's no narrative for how to approach each other. So you just kind of like orbit with interest and then like go on
Like
your
a
merry
Mexican
way.
standoff. Okay.
Yeah,
It's like
it
that
does,
Diddy
it's
and
a
Beckham.
shame.
Are you?
Yeah. Oh, it's a thing. But when approaching men, it was very easy.
Men in general
What
are a bit
my
easier. I'd say. I am.
I mean, it depends on the person, right? Like,
I don't.
This nigga said, "No, don't gloss over that, man. Circle back around." This nigga just said he was easy.
I am. Man, hold on. Like, I don't want to derail because I was very curious about that, like queer woman vortex and the way it's different when you're.
We're not
versus man.
we're not skipping over any of these nuggets over here that have just been dropped. Like, I just want to start with that one first.
So we can go back to that. But men are easy in general. Like relative to women, come on, come on.
Like if
we don't
a
have
girl
to, like,
likes you and you're even like halfway interested, open, like you're gonna like, oh, hey, you're gonna entertain it at least.
Hey, what you say? Hold on. Come back. Let me talk to you for a minute.
Let me talk to you.
Let me tell you something.
I was gonna be like, but guys, like queer men also exist, but then at the same time, like the gay men just sex is like shaking hands.
That's what I'm exactly,
bro.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's like ordering DoorDash. You can go on your phone, you can open an app and be like, deliver sex now. And
we've said that before. On this, me and Eddie have said that on this podcast before, but of course, I come from two straight men. Like, we don't always know, but like,
we weren't 100% sure, but
but
no, it's a thing.
I've been tried up by like a couple gay men before, like gay, they will get it popping on your ass. Like it's like you said, like it's
right.
The door is open if you want.
It's like it's still a man. You add like the likes men mod to it. It's still dude. Like it doesn't apply to every man, obviously, but
I think that's where I was getting at from it. So I'm not saying that I necessarily disagree. I'm saying I'm surprised to hear you say that in the context of on this very podcast, you saying, yes, I need them to be completely and utterly obsessed with me and who I am because I am Edward over gold.
Yeah, but once you do, yes is the answer, no matter who it is. Like, I'm easy. If you like me, then I like you. That's it. It's actually very easy. I basically have no standards.
You say it's levels to it, but at the end of the day, it's yes.
Yeah.
That's so you say you like me, I like you. That gets into another level of it because the thing that I ran into a lot, and this is so weird, like just the whole presenting as a woman versus like being a man, all of that stuff.
That's got to be trippy.
Yeah. Sex has always been easy to get. It's just like always been easy to get. Great.
Talk to him.
What made it?
He said, "I got it like that."
Being built different.
No matter how I'm read, I got it. I done it all type of ways. It's easy, light work.
I'm a bisexual disaster. It's what I bring to the conversation.
Oh, yeah, they love it. They love it.
But where it got complicated with men is when the liking started. Because what I have noticed is that there's a stereotype about women getting emotionally attached. With men, very, very easy to do the hookup thing. Having sex is very, very easy. As soon as there is even a hint of emotion involved, it gets way messier. In my experience. I obviously, like, people are not a monolith. I can't speak for everyone. But in my experience,
as a cisgender man, I am offended. No, I think you might be right.
No.
Men get really attached. They're like, they're so ready to have sex. And then the moment you're like, you want to stay and hang out, they're like, yeah,
really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're excited, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Finn,
Finn
got a riz. Finn got that riz because I could even see that. For one, you're right. Like generally speaking, like once men's emotions get involved, like shit get like messier because like guys don't really. A lot of cis guys don't really know how to communicate and communicate with their emotions and like express what they're going through and be upfront with their emotions, myself included, sometimes half the time. So I thought you were about to say like once the emotions kind of get involved, they kind of get a little distant sometime maybe. But you're saying like once they catch feelings, then they just like, hey, what you doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Hello, you.
We
We're
going to McDonald's. Yeah, we doing this. They start doing this thing,
You, my little schnookums, what's good? Like, okay, I could, That also resonates.
It's usually a friends with benefits thing because of the friendship. because of the friendship. Because then once you have like the physical intimacy and you also have friendship, they're like, well, we're 90% of the way there. Like, might as well. And I think I don't
What we
know. I
doing?
guess I'm yeah. Like let's just be a thing.
Like, why don't you
But I
just live
think
here?
I think it's like having gotten vulnerable with someone, like having done that, like because once you've like ticked the sex box, it's like, yeah, I did it. Awesome, successful man. And then suddenly this opportunity for an emotional connection comes up with someone you've already been naked in front of. It's kind of like, yeah,
Why not?
like I'm likely to go for it.
Why not give it a
Despite
try?
what all of the rom-coms say about men being garbage who just want to have sex and then leave and get afraid of emotions. Not my
Yeah.
experience.
I think that it 100% gets complicated, but I will say that I, as a man, have never
Caught
slept
feelings?
with anybody that I didn't like as a person. All right. So like I can like historically sleep with you, like you as a person, think we're cool, like want to hang out with you, like we can smash and then like go to Waffle House afterwards, and have no inclinations of wanting to take that into a serious monogamous relationship past that point. And what I found is that sometimes the women in those situations look at that in like fear. They're like they think that because I take them to Waffle House, even if they don't want anything, they're like, oh my god, this guy like is trying to like make this into something that he's not. I'm like no, like you're a cool person. That's why like
I'd
this
like to treat you
happened.
like a person. Yeah.
And I'd like to treat you like a person, even though I don't want you to be my girl. I don't want you to be my wife. Like, we're just two people doing what we're going to do. But you're cool. We can watch the game. We can have a beer. But I do think that because of the situation that Finn just described, I think that a lot of women have like, it's like an arms race, right? So it's like we're trying to like, we're all trying to like one up each other and trying to figure out the trends of how we're moving in society. And I think that women have like assumed that when a man does that, that a man is catching feelings. So they they act on that accordingly based on their individual context.
Based off of
That's
general
very
interactions with men, I mean, I can't blame them.
That's yeah, because I tend to agree with Alvin. I'm like, if you think that a man just not treating you like a piece of shit
Right.
is an indication that he wants to be with you, to your point, you're right. That's like statistically, I guess maybe you're not wrong. So that's the fucked up thing. But also maybe you should take that with a grain of salt. Like if you're right, if you're saying most men who sleep with me kind of don't treat me like a person, so it's rare when a man does. That's an indication he wants something serious. That's a system level problem, but I don't think the assumption is then still is correct from that.
Because I mean, I guess I've been in that bucket, but it's not even like I'm not treating you like a person. It's just under the rules of engagement and to like let the line be kind of clear of where we're at, so you don't get it confused to where I'm coming from. I'm more than do like extra shit, but it's not like, oh, I don't see you as a human being. It's still very respectful. Hey, like, are you good? Like, are you, let me know when you get home. Like, like just the follow up, the
But
aftercare.
you hold
You
off
do
on
that
the.
shit. Yeah, like all the extra shit. Like we don't
So
have to
which
go
shit
and
do
get.
you hold off because you're like, look, I don't want to miscommunicate what's going on here.
You know what I'm saying? Shoot.
Josh
You got to
not
get up
buying
out of here by
Yeah.
12:30 p.
You're not making that
That's
combo a
what
large,
I said.
man. You're not making that combo a large when you with Josh unless
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We gotta keep something in the chamber.
I have a dessert. No, she
Oh.
won't. No, she will not.
No, that's crazy.
Check, please.
That's crazy. What was the question? What would I hold back
What stuff do you hold off on where you're like, oh, this might give the wrong impression?
after? Like, okay, probably what Alvin was doing. Like sometimes what Alvin was doing. But like if I really
bed and
enjoyed
breakfast,
someone's
next day
company,
brunch?
yeah. Like, but if I really enjoyed someone's company, then I could see myself doing that. But if it was just like, okay, I'm ready to have my space back,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's so everyone is so different. Like everyone is, I mean, for someone it might be cuddling. Maybe like if you cuddle after,
True.
like, oh, that's sending the wrong
That's
signal. For someone else, it's
crazy
buying
to
them
me.
food. For
That's
someone,
crazy.
like, there's so I mean, in the amongst gay men in particular, kissing. Like if it's a hookup, it's a hookup. If you kiss, well, that's too intimate. Like that's too personal, right? So there are
See,
like
man,
there's so much of that.
all of y'all are
We about to
crazy
get
as hell.
right back into it.
All y'all are crazy
Right
as
back
fuck.
into
That
it.
is dysfunction. I'm sorry. That is dysfunction to me. Like, cause okay, you know what I think? I was thinking about this the other day. I think to me, kissing is a sex act. Like it's part of it is a sex act. Like you know when they say like first base, second base, whatever, kissing is part of that. It's like that is a proto-sexual connection that we're having. It's like it's low level, but it's like there's no one that I would kiss that I'm not sexually interested in, like on the mouth. Like that would never happen, and vice versa. So I'm like,
I think the crazy thing for me is that like the mental gymnastics that people do to justify saying that kissing on the lips is somehow more intimate than entering an orifice of your body is like crazy to me. Like that is, and I just sit back and watch those like arguments like frequently, and I'm like, wow, y'all are really like hitting like all kinds of complicated like maneuvers. You guys are on the fucking pommel horse right now, trying to like make this work.
Simone Biles with it,
and it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm sorry, you know.
Hey, look, we right there.
It doesn't make
Okay.
sense to me either. I've run into it before. It doesn't make sense. It
So
doesn't make sense.
I'm the odd person out then. Everybody thinks that sex is more intimate than kissing.
I think it should be. That's my view. My view is that like when you separate it out, you're viewing sex devoid of like love. This is not me talking about you specifically. This is just like high level analysis.
Yeah.
I feel like when you view kissing as more intimate, it's like it's not that you're viewing kissing wrong, because I think you're viewing kissing right. I think that you're detached from sex. That's what I think I'm getting at.
Yeah,
Which
like
I think is fair. Like that is a part of sex.
Yeah. Like kissing is very intimate, but sex is meant to be too.
Because it's like some things because you can have sex with someone and still withhold certain sexual actions from that person, such as kissing or giving head. You know what I mean?
That is fair. In the context of how we've approached this conversation, I think that you just maybe threw a wrench in the logic.
I'm sorry, anal is farther on the goddamn spectrum than kissing. I'm sorry, bro.
What about eating the groceries? Is that like
Is
For some
groceries
people,
is
that's just
anal.
a third date.
Yeah.
right.
Again, it's
I'm not
different-
going
it's
grocery
different
shopping.
people.
Yes.
It's different people.
I'm not
Like,
going grocery shopping with somebody who I never kissed before. That's crazy. What is going on right now?
It is like
Insanity.
my farmer's market is sacred. Like you're not just gonna go over. You're not finna fucking go with me
Whole
and get
Foods
my
with
fucking
no W. That's what
my
I got
fucking
over here, baby.
farm to table snap peas like right now, unless like we're serious.
Oh shit.
Locally sourced, baby. Fair trade.
Yeah, trade.
Literally.
Okay. Well, Finn, I feel like you were about to say something. Like,
Yes.
I'm thinking about it. I've had kisses with people that were more intimate than it's making it sound like I've had like a lot of sex. I haven't. I've had like a normal amount of sex.
You definitely did sound like you fucked everybody when you were like talking about your Riz earlier.
Everyone.
You're like, there's nobody left
Everyone.
really.
it wasn't even hard, let me tell you.
I settled down because I got bored.
Yeah.
For real though, I have a partner and I love them to pieces. But
Absolutely.
I've shared
Understood.
like kisses with people that felt more intimate than sex I've had with someone else. Right? Because there's so much of it is just
I agree.
your attachment to that person.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
That's actually, you know what? That's probably the first, like, almost agreement that I've probably had it because we had the same conversation with FD. That is true, but like the sex with the person that I liked the kiss with was also incredible. So it's like I've had cuddles with a person that were more memorable than I've had conversations that have been more memorable. So it's like any act is enhanced by I like you, I want to be around you, I want to be loved by you. It could be anything, you know.
Fuck, me and Eddie are agreeing.
Strong too. This is
Mutual.
not good.
This is a strong agree.
Nah, seriously, the nation not ready for us to team up. Because as soon as these powers unite, Captain Planet on them, it's gonna be a problem for y'all.
It's gonna be easy to break y'all up though, goddamn. You just throw in the word that y'all slightly disagree on and y'all motherfuckers just
Semantics.
semantics.
His only weakness.
Right.
Let's hit one of these topics real quick.
What about dumped after giving a kidney?
This TikToker donated a kidney to a boyfriend who...
Honestly, that's your dumb ass. You shouldn't have gave a kidney. You should have kept that
That's
to
crazy.
yourself.
Oh, well. Then I mean,
I
he was
mean-
gonna die. What you gonna do? Like just let somebody die?
It happens every
Shit.
day. I let billions
Damn.
of people. I let millions of people die daily. I'm
This
not.
nigga said he lets millions of people die. Like he could stop it, but he's elected.
Right. I could do something, but I just ain't got it in me.
I don't know y'all like that.
Reach the villain arc segment of the podcast.
Right.
We're back.
Like I got Jesus powers. Like I could turn this water into wine, but like you know what I'm saying. I'm chilling. Nah, that's crazy. But like, what's the rules on that? Because if you give somebody a kidney, are you giving it with the expectation that you've bought more of their time? Like how long somebody got to stay with you after they give you a kidney?
That's right.
I think this-
Last forever, bro. These kidneys don't even last forever. It's a
Right.
time
What have
limit
you
on
done for
these
me
kidneys.
lately? What have you done for me lately? That was old. That's an old kidney. What's up now?
In 10 years, I may need a new one. Like there's some new techniques that may be pushed to 15.
And
But
I
like,
need a new, I need a new girl for that.
So as long as that kidney is good, that's
Yeah.
New girl, new kidney.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Motherfucker asking for blood types and protein signalers
he's a
and
tender
shit on
swindler for
first dates.
kidneys.
Yeah. The Kidney Bandit on Netflix this summer. That'd be crazy.
awful.
The Pussy Harvester. That's crazy.
Okay, no, I'm not about to go into.
Please, come on.
Fuck it. It's a hypothetical situation. Now, like all the victims just get together. They got like this scar like on this. Oh my god!
Put them in a
that's it.
lineup like with like, and it's a photo op, but they all got the same.
oh,
Did he ask you your blood type on the first date? Yes. They both say B negative.
Oh shit! But no, I think it's no, I think it sucks. Like let me take off the jokes and hyperbole. I do think it sucks, but I'm also like, what are you supposed to do in this situation?
give
Like-
it back. I don't know. Like, is that
Right? Are you supposed to give it back? Is that what?
like?
And how long after? You know what I mean? Did she own him for the next 10 years or for the life of the kidney? Or I will say, as a matter of etiquette, if somebody gave me a kidney and I literally was planning to break up with them right before, I'm going to stay with them at least a year, just as like a thank you, essentially.
See, no, I wouldn't though. Because
I
there's
would.
nothing worse than finding out. There's nothing worse than finding
Alvin,
out.
shut up, Alvin.
That some,
My present is a present.
You gave me a kidney, so you earned
You
the extra
get 365
year, Eddie. Like,
days. Yeah.
I'll give you a little bit of me for a treat. You know, just
Yeah.
as a little treat.
Hey,
that's,
you got to know your worth,
and then you
James.
find out that your partner wanted to break up with you a year ago, but stuck around just because you gave them a
Ooh,
kidney.
how would she
Like,
find that
that's-
out? How would she ever
I
find
think-
that out?
I think that's kind of sweet.
Oh, that's. I
don't know, like,
I
look,
think
you
I think
gave
that's
me a
so
kidney.
much worse.
Really?
You think so?
I agree with
Yeah,
Finn.
I do.
I agree with Finn.
I think if you're planning on breaking up with someone and they find out, so you find out beforehand that they're a match, they're going to give you a kidney, and you know then that you're going to break up with them. You say, "Listen, I would love that."
Yeah, no, that's true.
But I think
that's
you should
true.
know, like, I don't see this relationship proceeding. But if you realize after the kidney transplant, you just got to be honest. You just got to
Nah.
say, you just got to be honest with them. Like, you did a
Think
really
so?
incredible thing for me, and I don't
But
want
you got
to
to
string
get
you
to
along in
step
this
in.
relationship.
Right.
And no, you're not getting this kidney back.
Just dap her up, like, yep. Thank you.
Thanks.
And then you say, "I'll carry part of you with me forever." And you go into-
Wow.
You're so much more
Always
savage
be a
than me in this situation.
Wow.
That's dirty as fuck, man. That's so fucking dirty. I'll always remember you. Every time I look at this massive scar
Every
on my
time I
abdomen.
pee,
Every time I
no.
get up and run and live, I will remember you.
Right. Every time
And
I
then-
take a shot.
And so it's like
This one's
George
for you.
Lopez has a stand up on this because one, this very scenario is what happened with George Lopez. I don't know if anybody's tracking
In
on
real
that.
life?
Yeah, in real life, this is what happened. Like his wife
Okay.
gave him a kidney and then he left his wife.
Damn, that's
But
really
his-
low rider.
Yeah. That was real meta. That was good. But in the stand up, he talks about how he got the kidney and immediately felt better. And like his wife was like fucking sick
course.
as a dog, like forever.
No.
So it's like so it's like if
hilarious.
it's yeah, so
feels
like
good.
in Finn's scenario, you know,
Right.
Finn is
He's
just
on a
like up, like
cane,
fucking walking. and his partner's like in the bed, just like bedridden. It's like, I'll carry a piece of you forever.
And just
Get well
skips to
soon.
Lou out the feels good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucked. No, look,
Oh
I
my
agree
God.
that if you know that you're gonna break, because I feel like breaking up, you don't always know. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not like, oh, I'm definitely going to. You might just have a feeling of like a spark dwindling, and sometimes sparks come back. If you know beforehand you're definitely not going to be with them, you should probably say something. But I'm also like, what, you supposed to die? Like, I'm sorry, I gotta look out for me.
don't know.
If I'm 100% breaking up with you, cool. But if I like am 20% like, oh, I kind of lost attraction the last like 2 months, but I was gonna stick it out for 4 months anyway. Girl, give me that kidney. I don't know. I can't tell the future. I don't know. I'm not finna die off. Come on. Like, we'll both be okay. We both gonna have one kidney. I'm not gonna die to like be the bigger man. That's crazy as hell.
Okay,
Oh my
okay,
God.
but like, okay, but check the situation that would put like the other person in, right? Like, if they were going to give you the kidney and you break up with them like right before that, because it's like, oh my God, I hate you so much. Like, you broke my heart, and I'm guessing all of us have been through heartbreak before, and we all know how bad that shit hurt, and like what we wish, hypothetically speaking, what might have
You
just
wish
in
they
terms
died
of
of kidney
karma
failure.
might happen to that person just in the heat of that
Yeah.
heartbreak. So when you actually give them the chance, they might fuck around and let you die.
That's what I'm
I
saying,
don't
and
know.
I'm not gonna give them the chance. We'll never know. we
But
will
then again,
never
like,
know
you
what
just
they
like
would have
haunt
done.
them. I don't know.
I think they'll be all right with 2 kidneys. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
They'll be walking
don't
around
know,
all good and
maybe-
everything.
Maybe I'm approaching this from like the perspective of someone who, even if like my partner were to break up with me,
You still
like
need the
say like,
kidney.
listen, before you give me that kidney, I need you to know, because like they broke up with me. I don't want them to die.
But do you
That's
want
true.
them to live?
Like, yeah.
Okay. No, that's okay. Now here's the question though: how how long does that what's the shelf life on that? If your boyfriend breaks up with you today, 6 months later he's like, "Yo, by the way, my kidney's not feeling so good, and I happen to remember going through the Rolodex. We got that same blood type. Can you help me out?" What if it's a year?
Thanks.
What if it's 5 years? Okay.
It depends. It depends. I have an ex who I would definitely give a kidney to, and I have an ex who I'd like consider
Would-
it, and I have an ex that I would not.
Under any
nope,
circumstances.
not gonna happen. No. Like
Yeah.
I don't want you to die, but I'm not gonna give you my kidney. You can go find someone else. So
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it depends. It depends on who's asking.
That's, you know what, that's very true. And I think like if your relationship, I think it depends on the relationship, because if the relationship is solid, you breaking up with me doesn't mean I don't love you anymore, and it probably doesn't mean that you
Yes.
don't not love
Yeah.
me anymore. But a kidney is a lot.
And that
You only
that
got
br-
for 2
like
of them.
these two.
Like I don't think I
these
think
two
we're
people-
underestimating how much of it. It's somebody like a kidney is not like 10 grand. Like if an ex that I really fuck with heavy needed 10 grand that I don't even have, like we could figure something out. A kidney is a fucking kidney. Like that's a lot. I can only even give one once.
Exactly. I would give somebody 20 grand. I would figure out like GoFundMe, my own funds, whatever, 30
Right.
grand before I'm like
Remortgaging houses, selling furniture, all of that.
willy-nilly giving somebody like a kidney.
A kidney is crazy. Yeah, I think we're overestimating what that kidney worth is. Cause like low key, I might not get a kidney if we're not breaking up. Like I'm sorry, like I don't know.
Okay,
Like because we
okay.
go together, I gotta give you half my kidneys. Like no,
What if they tell you like, I'm gonna break up with you,
unless I give you
before you give me
unless-
no, unless you give me a kidney. They say I'm gonna break up with you. Like, and so you're in that situation where they told you they want to dump you, but you're about to give them your kidney, or you could give them your kidney. At that point, you could arrange a payment plan, and they could pay you for the kidney. So you could implement that first.
Hey, look, if they're willing to
So
do
then
that,
you
then that's
get the
fine.
20.
That's just good business. Or I mean, I guess there's a little bit of a like. I wouldn't normally sell this anyway, but I'm willing to sell it to you because you are still a person I care for. And like, yeah, that could grease the wheel. So yeah, yes,
I feel like
I'd
that's
be down for that,
incredibly
yeah.
illegal, but still, like,
It is,
Is it?
but and it is, and it's also
Is that prostitution or?
a seller's market, right? So like, you need this. You're really far
I
down
start
the donor
highballing
list.
them.
Yeah, I'm like going way above like black market prices. Like black market prices are probably like in current state like 15, 20 grand. Like I'm like 150K. Like let's make it happen. Like let's pop it off. You know, like
Wait, your girl that just dumped you, you asking her for
Lex
150
Luthor over
stacks
here,
to
guy.
God damn, this motherfucker
It's
is
a
vicious.
seller's market. It's a
Look, man.
I'm talking about it in the realm of the universe that we
Yeah.
Now,
This
if I was a
motherfucker is
capitalist,
he is the
At this point, it
capital
feels
of
like
capitalist.
Feels like the
it's a
plot of
seller's
movie.
market.
It's a
it very
seller's
well
market.
could be. It's just-
Oh man, Alvin be using the hell out of that MBA in his relationships. I know it for a fact.
okay, I don't think if can we go back to the Finn, you spoke on it briefly, but we
Vortex?
didn't really get yes.
The binary vortex of
Yes,
I don't know.
like when you're just kind of like,
Oh.
I like you, but no one makes the move. Can we discuss that? Is that okay? Like,
Yeah,
how does that
yeah,
interaction
totally.
work? Like,
Oh, thank you, Josh.
So usually there's flirting, there's interest. I had like, prior to coming out as trans, many years prior actually, I had a friend who I think both of us were sort of realizing that we were bisexual. Both of us were figuring it out. And we spent a lot of time together. We like made haha funny jokes about like, what if we were a couple or something just for fun.
that's how it
We
always
were-
starts.
That's smart. That's the game.
We're all a bunch of comic book nerds, and a friend of ours literally like wrote a comic about this like this steampunk scenario of these two women in like arranged marriages to men falling in love with each other and like running away together, and just told us straight up like, yeah, you two were my inspiration for this comic book. So but there's no narrative. So I think like heterosexual dating is really challenging because there is a structure in place, and that comes with problems. Like people have expectations, women expect to be pursued, men are expected to be the pursuers. But like in my experience, the reason that I had good luck with men is I told people when I was interested. I was the person who initiated. Like I tend to go for like shy, nerdy guys, and so I would just tell them like, "Hey, I'm into you," and it almost always went well.
And was that because of that experience of having been in that vortex and breaking it through initiation, or
Possibly, I think it was because there was a clear structure to be broken. So I think because, there was this like expectation of this is how heterosexual dating works, there was a way to combat it and be like, okay, what if it wasn't though? What if I just did the opposite? What would happen then? But with queer dating, it's not really as clear. There are certain themes and jokes and stereotypes and stuff that have emerged over the years, but at the time didn't exist. Certainly wasn't a thing that I was very familiar with.
Question. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
I was gonna ask, do you think that in terms of like feminine energy and masculine energy plays a role even in queer dating? Like if someone might be
think it
more
does.
identified with like a masculine like persona or just like more masculine energy versus like someone who might be identified with more of the feminine energy, and then like you combine like you basically tack on those roles to that energy that you might just kind of feel more identified with.
It can. I'm telling all of our secrets. I'm telling all our secrets here. But part of what makes queer
X-Files.
dating fun, especially like as a bisexual person, and someone who's trans, not necessarily because my gender is particularly fluid, but because once you have lived as one gender and then realize you're another one, once you have transitioned, you kind of realize how malleable gender is, right? Like how much of it is performance, how much of it is a role. Once you have experienced that directly, queer dating, if you're bisexual or pansexual or what have you, becomes a lot more fun because there can be someone who brings a lot of feminine energy to the relationship, who is like generally more soft-spoken, who kind of likes to be the protected rather than the protector, all of those things. But then in the bedroom, it's completely different. Right? Like maybe their role or position is that more commonly in a heterosexual situation associated with a man.
Yeah.
I actually have a friend who said that a lot of heterosexual people would benefit from queering their sex, from recognizing that your gender performance and your role in the day-to-day doesn't necessarily have to translate to what you do intimately with your partner. You have a whole variety of different things that as a person you can explore and play with.
Yeah.
So like keep it, you know, as PG as possible.
You don't have to.
Hey,
I
right,
mean, you
just
can't. You are
trust me.
allowed
Yeah,
to, but you definitely don't have to. You know,
I think that
it's an R rating minimum
ain't
on this
gotta trust
podcast. Wherever you're comfortable with, but our audience, whatever. This shit ain't gonna be monetized anyway. Go for it.
I basically I'll summarize by saying I think that even if you don't lean toward being the little spoon, everyone can benefit from some little spoon time. And that doesn't necessarily mean like being a bottom and just totally getting railed. I mean just like being the person who is held. Being the
Yeah.
person who gets held, regardless of what your gender is and your role is really important.
No, I definitely think
So-
some.
No. Say what you were gonna say. Say it.
I was gonna say, I definitely think a little bit like that switchiness is definitely needed. I think maybe even especially for men, maybe even especially straight men, maybe even especially cis men, like if going down those categories. But that whole conversation just reminded me of, I think I mentioned it on this podcast, that a girl one time like she moved me, like she flipped me over, like, and I was like, nah, we can't, nah, we not doing this.
Nigga pulled
We've
the
created too
trousers
much
up immediately.
I was gathering my ropes, but I was like,
Yo, she grabbed anybody's legs and just.
yeah, she grabbed. It was a very aggressive blowjob. I was not. She grabbed me. I was like, nah, I'm not trying to be it. That's a teaspoon. I'm not ready to be that little. That's.
I will
Couldn't-
say, I think a
couldn't
lot
do
of guys are. I guess, and I know this is just like an example to illustrate like a larger point, but even when it comes to like just being like a little spoon in the sense of being held, a lot of guys are definitely a lot more open to that. Like I be hearing like a lot of guys are requested, especially like, you know, online, like in the ether. You know what I'm saying?
Jetpack. We love
Hell
that.
yeah, like shoot, you got there, got your back turned, and she just roll over and just like snuggle up real quick.
Head on the lap.
I'm all
But
for
I mean,
being
you-
a little spoon. I'm cool with that. You know,
Yeah.
I want to be held too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Necessary. Plus, you can kind of go down that whole gamut and get like, as to put it, you know, PG-13, as Finn said, you know, you can just get fully railed. You know what I mean? So you can.
First of all,
Clear
the
it all
man
the way
said
down
PG.
there.
You just misquoted him.
Well, I was
The man said PG.
upgraded. Yeah, I mean, he said PG, but then he said railed, which is that's not PG at all. That's that's at least PG-12 or something. I don't know. But what's the? But we
TVMA.
were talking. Yeah, that's at least TVMA. But what's the girl version of that? Because I feel like a lot of what we're talking about is queering it so that like men can get their booty holes played with, and we're talking about that side of it. But what's the side of women being able to be experience what is usually reserved for the masculine in the bedroom? Like, what's that part? You know what I'm saying?
So
Is that
like
men
between
giving more
women
submissive?
or like women
Well, I suppose two women would already be queered, like
Yeah.
off default. So like, I guess I mean women and men, yeah.
Amazon position.
And do you figure that's a bit of a gift to herself?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a gift to whoever. Like, if both people are
Yeah, if
enjoying
you enjoy it, yeah.
yeah.
I see that.
I know a great many women who are dating heterosexual men who they themselves are very, very fond of pegging,
Yep.
and their partners might not have necessarily been. And it's not usually from what I have
Wait a
heard
minute.
a dynamic where she was like pushing it and pushing it. But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
She turned him out.
If it's something you in that role, if that's not necessarily your thing, if you know, like she grabs you and flips you and that's not something that you enjoy, totally fine. Having your boundaries is good. But I think where it happens for a lot of people is that they are into their partner being in that role. It's not necessarily they themselves are like, ooh, I'm super turned on by this, like taking on the submissive role or taking on the bottom role. Like that's really great for me. I'm like neither here nor there on it, but I sure do love seeing her go in
Her
that
in
space.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, see, and that I think that's what the spirit of my question was, which was like, how specifically can women be given, like, and because when you're giving up the ass, you are giving something. I think, like literally,
Yeah.
like how can they be in a position to where they're given something that's usually reserved? And it's like, you know, I don't particularly want to get fucked in my ass, but I enjoy seeing her experience this dominant energy that she's in. and I'm happy to participate in that. Like I'm giving something in that moment, and it's like, yeah, okay. So okay. That's exactly what I was curious about. Okay, so fellas, give up the ass. You know what I mean? Even if you're willing to, yeah. All right, let's say one little last one. If there's not anything, just like side mention. I hope Jamie Foxx is doing all right. I don't know what the progression of that will be, but I hope he's doing all right because he's
absolutely.
like pretty young, like for it to have had a stroke. So I'm like,
I was
don't know.
looking into that, and nobody is reporting that he had a stroke specifically, other than like The Sun and like Daily Mail.
so it's not confirmed.
Yeah, even TMZ isn't saying that he had a stroke.
Okay.
TMZ is oddly enough extremely credible.
Oh yeah, they break stories all the time.
Yeah.
They broke Kobe, they broke Paul Walker, like they break stories, and TMZ isn't
Jonathan Majors,
reporting.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah. But damn, like speedy recovery to him, because he not only like Eddie was saying, like pretty relatively young, but the fucking talent within that man is like ridiculous. And one thing I'm happy to see is like him getting his flowers. You know,
he doesn't get them enough though. Like he really does not get his flowers enough because the dude is like musician, actor, director, comedy, dramatic, can sing. Like he's one of the most talented like Hollywood creatives that we've really seen in recent history. Like he really should be up there with the Will Smiths, the Childish Gambinos, the Eddie Murphys of the world.
he is
In terms of just skill, I don't think so. I don't think he gets the respect of an Eddie Murphy or Will Smith or even a Donald Glover. I don't think so.
Nah, he definitely gets. I think he's above Donald Glover because for one,
Oh, you
Jamie
think
Foxx
so?
has got way more years in the game than Donald Glover.
Okay.
Jamie Foxx show, the Jamie Foxx show.
Is essentially a cult classic, man.
Yeah, like I mean, Living Color.
Is what
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, trust me. He's above Donald Glover,
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, Will Smith, like Jamie
Okay.
Foxx. But he's like in that echelon still, but just the amount of recognition, I still agree. He doesn't get enough.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Well, yeah. Speedy recovered to him. Hope he's doing all right. Let's see if we got anything on here that's
Freaknik?
I was gonna say free.
Y'all, are y'all familiar with
I know Alvin.
Freaknik?
Finn.
Are you familiar with Freaknik?
Now let me see you drop to the ground.
They was dancing and guys was grabbing them a little bit, but they couldn't reach them. So then we just was just chilling, watching them dancing. So then we turned around and this other girl was dancing with some other guy, some guy that was in the crowd. One girl, she had an all-white dress on, and they had her on stage. She got up there, she just danced a little bit. By the time we turned around, it just got ugly. We just saw this girl getting her clothes just ripped off. She was getting mauled. It was like a swarm of bees just attacking her all at one time.
Vaguely. Like I know what Freaknik is. I know what Freaknik 94 was. I guess like no, it wasn't as much of a shit show as Woodstock 99.
Oh, wow.
I'm not familiar with Woodstock 99.
Bunch of people. Yeah, Lord. Cultural exchange moment.
Let me
I'm
tell
definitely
you.
familiar with Woodstock
Right.
99. I watched the documentary.
Didn't like people died? Like
Yeah,
people
yeah,
actually died at Woodstock 99.
Yeah, people died, and then it was like that people were getting like trampled.
Yo, that crowd shit scares
sexual
the
assault
fuck out of me.
situation.
Oh,
It's why I don't like anything of that scale, right?
can't regulate it anymore.
Exactly. They went through like the math of it, like how many like security guards you would need to like do that. It's similar to say like the Astroworld situation. You're woefully understaffed, you don't have enough water, you don't have enough food, like you don't have like proper barricading, you don't have enough medical staff. Like it's just like none of those like events are staffed well. Like when they go well, it's kind of like a minor miracle in my
No,
eyes.
seriously, because
So-
that crowd collapse shit is like, because when you think about even just being in a crowd like that, where in front of you, behind you, and to either side, there's like 500 bodies before you can even get to open air, it's like nobody is safe in that situation. If people start falling or pushing or moving, or somebody tries to assault you, like it's very difficult for you to move or get out.
Now with Freaknik, right? Now imagine like that kind of shit happening, but it being completely decentralized. Like there's not like a fairgrounds.
There's
not
nobody.
like
Yeah.
yeah. Freaknik took place over the entire like city and a lot of the inner ring suburban areas. Like there were clubs as like, you know, as far out as like Decatur, Stone Mountain that had like Freaknik like events. You know what I mean? So it was like,
Right.
imagine all of that happening over like the scope of like an entire metro area,
Even on the highway.
on the highways, on the streets.
I'm curious what's in the documentary, but yeah, everybody's talking about, you know, the Twitter narrative right now is like everybody's auntie should be worried, and then the retort to that is actually everybody's uncle should be worried because a lot of y'all was committing rape and sexual assault at this event. So that seems to be where it's at right now, which I hadn't even thought about initially.
And I think that like, because I remember having conversations with people that were slightly younger than me, like that just thought that like, oh, like a massive party, like Atlanta's version of South by Southwest or like Austin City Limits would be kind of cool. That's not what Freaknik was, man. It was a net negative for the city. Like when I want to say it was Bill Campbell who was mayor at the time who outlawed it initially, and I 100% think it was the right move.
Can you go into that? Because I myself don't have full context for, you know, none of us were at it. So like, can you go into what it was? It's not South by Southwest. It's not like spring break going a little bit too wild. Instead, it's actually what to a city.
It's people coming from everywhere to engage in debauchery at a level where they like didn't think there were rules, again, across the entire landscape of a city. So like crime went up in every facet of what that means. So not just but, you know, obviously I think most importantly, you know, sexual assault, but also just like, you know, general like physical assault, you know, theft, you know,
robberies,
yeah, like everything like got worse for the city during that stretch. And when they outlawed it, like stuff just magically didn't do that anymore. So I think that outlawing it was kind of like the best thing for it. And I do know there have been efforts to like bring it back. What I do think is that bringing it back in a centralized fashion won't give the people who have those like rose-colored like nostalgia glasses about it. It won't give them what they want because we shouldn't be what it was.
Because what it was crazy.
What it was largely bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
My thing is I don't know if it's actually going to show like the full scope of the debauchery and like all the assault that happened.
Yeah.
Because for one, it's produced by Jermaine Dupri and Uncle Luke. And Uncle Luke was one of the pioneers of goddamn, like, you know,
that
making
scene,
music and the culture of, you know, throwing that ass back, you know, look at that girl with the dance do. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like that whole
Two Live Crew.
that whole vibe. So if they're producing it,
It's gonna be celebratory mostly.
yeah, you know, it's like, oh my god, like this was so great, like it was a big ass party, like, you know, and it, you know, there was its moments of this is a great time, like because even hell, yeah, motherfuckers kept going back year after year, like keep talking about Freaknik, but
A thing can be,
you know,
can have like a bunch of horrific elements, but that doesn't make it not also have non-negative elements. I'm trying to say that lightly, but it's like, yeah, horrific shit happens in a country, but you don't say the whole country is terrible. So it's like, I don't think it's crazy to be like, yeah, Freaknik had these terrible things that should be covered in a documentary, but also like it was a wild, big ass, super fun party for a lot of people who had lots of positive experiences at it. I think we could talk about that too, because it had to have been fun for those who weren't harmed, obviously.
yeah. I remember I saw like there was this guy like basically saying like, oh no, it's the uncles that need to be worried about this documentary because a lot of y'all were committing, you know, sexual assault.
Yep.
This one woman in the comments, she was like, wow, just hearing this from a man just kind of like making me like rethink some stuff, and I just can't believe I just kept going back year after year. And somebody else replied to her and said, why did you keep going back? And of course she never responded.
Well, because maybe her point was like, it was dangerous, you know?
Yes, it was dangerous.
So
but
like I was stupid, like I was having a good time, but damn, I really, you know.
Yeah, there was
So,
danger. There could have been danger, like some like around the corner, you know.
So the cool thing about the Woodstock '99 documentary is that like a lot of the people they focused on that they talked about, and they asked them at the very end, like all of this shit happened. You know, we're talking about how big of a shit show this was. If you could go back, would you? And they were all like, yes. They were like, this was a transformative experience for me. Like all this bad shit happened, like it was really horrible, and now I have stories for my entire life. Is what
honestly,
they said.
because I've had some shit like that, and I'm like, but I mean, you got to scale what, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you've been assaulted at Woodstock or at Freaknik, you might answer that question differently.
And that's true. They didn't talk to assault victims. These were people who were just like, I didn't have water, which was horrible. Like, by the way, like, I'm not trying to
Why did
downplay
you
that
put
shit
it
either.
like that? Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to downplay.
I was
that either.
thirsty. Yeah.
They were like, yeah,
days,
man,
I was kind of thirsty.
You phrased
but
that crazy.
Yeah. We ran out of water day 2. Like I'm not saying that was a great situation to be in either, but like they didn't talk to like
It's not the
people who
same
got
thing, yeah.
like who got maimed or like actually one person did
or
get
died
hurt.
or paralyzed
Yeah,
or some shit like that.
They definitely didn't talk to anybody that died in Woodstock.
Well, sir,
we're at the grave of Robert Johnson. Robert, can you tell us what you're doing all over again?
we've brought a medium with us to translate his feelings.
We bought our Ouija board.
N-O, bitch. I did not want to. I would rather be alive. I would rather see my grandkids. But no, man, I've been at Tokyo's like New Year's party and like Halloween parties is insane. Like hundreds of thousands of people crowding the street, and I've gotten like almost crowd collapse to where it's like you can't breathe. You're pushed up against something, and the person behind you is pushed up against something, and you're like, if this crowd doesn't move, I will die. Obviously didn't die, but like that would have been a cool story. You know what I'm saying? So like I get it. Yeah.
I was at the last shooting at Peace Drop in Atlanta. And like I tell people that story all the time. I was like, yeah, man, people start shooting and then we fucking ran behind the Waffle House. It was great. I've also never been to a Peace Drop since. I've never been to a Peace Drop since.
Okay. You're more sensible than
Okay,
me.
I got one better. New Orleans before COVID. I think it was Mardi Gras 2019. Mardi Gras 2019. I was there. And
Nigga,
bro,
I want to do that.
Nigga, I was at Mardi Gras 2019, bro.
For
We
real?
was in the same. We was
yo, that's crazy, bro. Do you remember
Small
that
world.
mass sea of people
Small
that was on Bourbon
world.
Street? Right. But do you remember how thick it was on Bourbon Street? Like it was a literal sea of people, like shoulder to shoulder, wall to wall of just people. And if I had like real bad anxiety and shit, like I would have had a panic attack because just like y'all was saying, if something would have went wrong, and it eventually did, but it would have been fucked. And I remember, luckily, me and one of my homeboys, we was already inside the Crystals, like ordering some food, talking to the cashiers. The next thing we know, we just heard pop, pop, pop. Niggas started shooting outside, and it was just a mass fucking crew of people just run. It looked like some shit from a movie. Like you just saw everybody running in one direction.
Yeah.
And then people just started spilling into the Crystals. Looking back on it, and hell, I mean, even that night, it was kind of funny. It was fucked up, but it was kind of funny because this one dude just had this look of sheer terror on his face. And one of my homeboys said, he said it reminded him of the SpongeBob. He said, "My leg." I know it's fucked up. Like I shouldn't laugh, especially but that night, like
Well, I mean, he didn't die or like anything like that. He just was scared.
wasn't
So
hurt,
I think
but
that's
it was the running of the bullets. That's
my
what
leg.
it was deemed. Yeah.
and
Wilhelm scream.
Finn, you're Canadian, right?
Yeah.
So you're just like looking at us crazy, like look at these dumbass Americans, like all these fucking
Interesting
shootings
lore
they
right
was
here.
talking about.
Wait,
Having all
y'all
these
don't
gun,
have big.
these gunplay conversations.
Oh, the gun
like,
part. Right. True.
Yeah, I'm over here like one time I stubbed 2 toes at once and it hurt real badly.
It was one of the bigger ouchies of 2019, actually.
I texted some friends about it. Yeah, like a few
You
people
won't
actually
believe
found out.
What happened
They
to
made
me
me
today.
tea. They put a blanket over top of me. It was
no way to stop it from happening, says the only developed country in the world where this happens regularly. My favorite onion.
I don't know. I think it's pretty hard, man. Like, it's just so many of them, and it's like a massive, massive lobby, and it's the
Look,
Second
man,
Amendment in the nation. It's difficult.
I own guns, but like I own like reasonable guns. Like I don't have like a fucking like
Finn is listening to this
AR-15,
like Finn is listening to this like, man, what do you mean you own a reasonable arsenal of survival weaponry?
Arsenal is a
This
crazy.
motherfucker listed off a
arsenal.
Punisher Frank Castle list.
That was wild. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I did just say some wild
Arsenal
shit.
is crazy.
Like in a global
I think
context,
a
what you just said makes
reasonable-
no sense.
Yeah, I just said some
I
wild
think a
shit.
reasonable
You are
arsenal is a
absolutely
thing.
right.
Like I think that's a thing. I think that's the thing,
Okay.
especially if you're a marginalized person. Like I've read what Robert F. Williams. Like I think there's something to be said
Okay.
for having
Okay,
weapons. Like
we love to see it.
like I think that's a
Villain
thing.
arc. Join us.
It's very. It's just it's weird. It's really weird being someone who is a member of a community that's being blamed for all of the ills in the world, and like, being like specifically in America, it's wild seeing this whole like groomer panic thing being a thing that's just, renewed, right? And watching as like children die in schools because of guns, that's been a really weird thing, like being blamed for like people being unsafe, for people being indoctrinated, for people being quote unquote groomed, and then seeing this gun culture that is like so intense and permeates every single aspect of American society. That's wild. That's an adventure.
What is the wildest thing that you think Canada has?
That illegal maple syrup. They be trying to smuggle it across the border.
Yeah,
That's
like-
a real thing.
That's it. Yeah, no, there's like a maple syrup reserve, and I think someone tried to steal out of the maple syrup reserve, and it was an issue. Like,
Whoa,
it's an
shit,
actual-
that made
Fort Bagels and Lox.
I don't know. I think like depends on how real of an answer do you want, because like Canada, I could make it real sad. Canada has a very
Please.
ugly history, particularly when it comes to the treatment of Indigenous people. Like the amount of like forced sterilization, outright genocide. The way the police in particular, because of course treat Indigenous people. I don't know if y'all are familiar with. I think they're called Starlight tours, where in the prairies, police officers would just take Indigenous men usually and just drive them out into the prairies when it's like -40 and just leave them there.
Shit.
Canada has an incredibly like ugly, violent history that exists underneath a facade of super polite and approachable. Like Canada's just America with good PR. Like right now, it's a better place to be for a number of reasons. We don't have the gun
And better
culture, but
healthcare,
really,
right.
yeah.
PR and better healthcare.
Yeah, some of the
PR
welfare
and
and
better
healthcare stuff is But
No
damn,
better policies, but damn.
shit. Well, I think that's the pod, folks. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for ending it on a nice, happy note there, Finn. If you
And it's sad.
yeah, and now I'm sad. If if your homeboy has a reasonable arsenal of no AR-15s, but lots of handguns, pistols, and long guns, you might be seeing a red flag. But at the same time, if you aren't strapped and ready for the apocalypse, it might be you just waving a red flag. It's been Waving the Red Flag podcast. It's been Eddy, Josh, Alvin, Mr. Fantastic. Hop on the Patreon if you want bonus episodes, if you want to talk to us live. You know what I'm saying? If you want access to the Discord, like and subscribe to this channel so you can see next week's episode. And Finn, where can the people find you?
Yes, so people can find me on YouTube. I recently rebranded to Swolesome, but if you search Fantastic Mr. Fox, I will still pop up.
Do we need to?
So.
Should we be is this like a Diddy situation? Do we need to change the name? Is it Mr. Swole or okay, Dr. Swole?
It's actually, Dr. Swole. Thank you very much. I didn't get my
Swole.
PhD in gains for nothing.
Okay, there we go. Very
thanks.
nice. That's great. Cool. Did I leave anything out? Oh, we got new merch on the store as well. You know what I'm saying? The like simple logo tees. So cop those if you're interested. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace. That's it. Done. All right. Stop.
Getting a PhD in gains is crazy.
It's a red flag.